Every day, more and more, it seems that an economic collapse is inevitable. I've been tracking this for a long time, and I'm about to show you some information that you must pay attention to. Why? It's going to impact your life. You are going to see very big changes coming in the next few years that are unavoidable. Everybody will be hit upside the head with what I'm going to show you. Welcome, truth seekers. You've landed in the right place. I want to bring you the information that others can't. They won't get into it. It's a touchy subject. So join the nearly 300,000 people on this channel and subscribe right down below. Hit that notification so that we can conquer this together. Speaking of which, I'm talking about some information right now that's going to make people a little bit uncomfortable. But stick with me because I'm going to show you why you need to know and what you can do. Here we have it. US core inflation is still unacceptably high for the Fed, and that means more pain for the economy. What's he talking about? They have to increase interest rates. They have to keep them there for a while. Jim Bianco is, in this case, correct. Because when you increase borrowing costs, you generally slow down the economy. That's what we've seen. The first group that this has impacted has been those in the low income. That's for sure. At the same time, they are not going out there. They're not buying the TVs. They're not going even, in some cases, to the dollar store to spend money, or they've slowed down their spending and they've been making changes. They're not going to the mid-range stores. They're going to the lower end stores. In some cases, they're going away from the Walmarts. They're going to the dollar stores. They're making these changes. Their spending habits are very clear. Let me tell you some facts. You've got the personal savings rate declining to a level that's back to financial crisis time. At the same time, credit card usage has never been higher. We've also seen buy now, pay later services surging to record highs. Each and every piece of the puzzle's coming together looking very, very dangerous. It is precarious. And I think that you have a family member, most likely, that is in these circumstances, finding themselves in way too much debt. But even if you're not in debt personally, it's going to hit you. Let me tell you. Look at what we have. America's latest inflation wave is all about corporations using excuses and cover to increase profits, according to UBS. We're seeing the expansion of margin under the cover of, oh, it's a general inflation problem, we can't help it. What do you think about that? I've seen your comments in the comment section below, and basically every video suggests that from different people. But unless you put it down in the comments below, I'm never going to know. So please do that, okay? I want to know what you're thinking. This is a conversation. I talk to the camera here, but then I wait for your comments. I actually do look for the comments, okay? And also, if you want to get into the discussion, I've got the link down there for Discord. And if you're into Discord, I'm communicating each and every day on Discord, so you can check that out. If the link doesn't work, let me know. It's in the description, okay? But I want to show you this because for a lot of people, yeah, they are getting ripped off. They are getting ripped off. Of course, a lot of these corporations, all of their only thing is their bottom line. Now, at the same time, they employ people. So you want them to make a profit. But at the same time, you don't want to gouge people. That's not the way to do business. That is absolutely not the way to do business, okay? And so we see that there's always going to be alternatives, always making choices, but you've got to watch out because in my experience with what I see on e-commerce, there's this race to the bottom. People just squeeze, and then nobody's making money at the end of the day, and then like it becomes a problem. You want to make a profit, you want everybody to be happy, there's no question about that, and the customer needs to feel value from what they're getting. If there are two stores selling the exact same thing, if you're buying apples from a place here, from a place there, and they're the exact same apple from the exact same farm, but one is $1 per pound more, well, of course it makes sense to go to the other place, right? Get that discount. And so there's no question. But what we're seeing a lot of is like being squeezed from all of these companies. They all are doing the same thing. And that's not good because they're colluding together. That's when it gets real dangerous. And now we look at countries like China that are engaging in mass stimulus to try to get that economic growth happening. There's too much debt. They've got a collapsing real estate market, and they need to deal with it very quickly. And so You've had different members of China. They've been going out. They've been shaking hands with people in Europe and all these other countries. Hey, let's do business. Let's do a deal. Let's do the Belt and Road Initiative. Let's make these things happen. All right. So he's expected to introduce a $1 trillion economic package to support its waning recovery after 3 years of lockdowns. They've been doing a lot. They've been cutting interest rates. They've been reducing the reserve ratio requirements for the banks. They've been trying to get this to happen. It's still not working though. Growth is slower and slower and slower. Not a good sign, okay? Over $500 billion more dollars have been dumped into the US government's debt spiral in the last 2 weeks alone. So you've got debt everywhere. It's personal debt. You're looking at this on, over in China, but at the same time, in the United States, come on, $571 billion increase? I mean, I'm at a loss for words. Not the only government who could figure out how to spend $500 billion in a matter of weeks is the US government. Congratulations, US government. You're completely punishing the people forever. This is mathematically impossible to ever pay back. And when you've got interest rates that are going higher and higher, that national debt becomes more and more of a burden. Canadian economic productivity is in free fall. Per capita economic production and relative living standards are dropping with no end in sight. The problem is going on everywhere. I need to show that to you. You need to realize this. If you've got a friend in Canada, if you've got a friend in Alabama, if you've got somebody that's in California, everybody is feeling the same circumstances. There's way too much debt. Interest rates are putting that additional burden on top, and you are going to see what happens when this goes wild, when inflation cannot be stopped. And despite an economic slowdown, the inflation goes higher. It is punishment that will be felt, and that's not a good thing. It's going on in Germany too. German recession will be sharper than expected. Oh yeah, we expected it to be better, but it's not. Come on, wake up, people. Let's wake up. I know that you're on this channel. You could take it. Are you new to the channel? If you are, let me know in the comments below, and I want everybody to say hello. If there's anybody that's new, say, hey, I'm new to the channel, and I want people to say hello. I will say hello, and we can all do that together, okay? It's important. Now, this is just an interesting one. Essentially saying that Gen Z turns to a brand new, that's in quotes, brand new craze to control their finances. What is it? Cash. They're using cash right now because they can't control their spending. So they're putting that cash away so that they can actually save some money so that they can afford to eat. 1%ers keep shopping at the dollar store. Wealthy consumers scour discount chain aisles for bargains. I would say that, in most cases, a lot of the products that the dollar store carries, especially now, is comparable to what you'd find at Walmart, except cheaper. So for a lot of people, it just makes a lot of sense. And now they even have food at a lot of these places, so I can see why people are doing that. I recently saw a homeless guy. He came out of the dollar store. He had a loaf of bread and he had a jar of peanut butter, and I'm sure he's going to be eating well for a couple of days. Okay, so I think no matter what your circumstances are, you could find a lot of stuff there. So it's not just about that, but of course that's the Wall Street Journal article. They're just talking about that. You could see Florida losing its affordability edge after drawing a flood of new arrivals. The state's housing frenzy is starting to subside as higher mortgage rates and soaring insurance costs erode some of its attractiveness. With newcomers, businesses are moving there, wealthy are moving there, average people are moving there, and of course it's making it much more expensive to live there. The prices are up, inventory is down, you've got business-friendly rules. I know people that have gone there on vacation and have talked to people they know and things, and they said, I love it here. I love it here. This is great. This is fantastic, and so on. But it depends. Depends on your circumstances. There's nowhere is perfect. That's for sure. But certainly, it's become much more expensive, let me tell you. Retirement crisis brewing as baby boomers near end of working lives with little, if any, savings. Now, this article is out of the Financial Post in Canada, but it applies everywhere. Close to half of those aged 55 to 64 only have, check this out, $5,000 or less to put aside for retirement. $5,000, they have nothing. They have nothing to put aside for their retirement. Do you not see a problem with that? That this is a disaster, that you've got inflation piling up, you've got debt adding up. So these two things are like choking people. They are unable to breathe in this water. They are drowning. And they've only got $5,000 set aside. The workforce, the total pool of people there now, usually at 65, people would be retirement. They can't do that now. And if they're not retiring, they're now competing with the younger generation. So it depends on the type of jobs and things. AI is coming in, robotics are coming in to take a lot of the jobs. So you could see that this is going, if it doesn't happen today or tomorrow, it's going to happen next year, maybe 5 years, 10, whatever that time frame is. You realize that the bigger the bubble has become, the bigger the disaster eventually occurs. It's better to get it done right now. Rip that Band-Aid off. Let's deal with the problem. Let's make it happen so that we don't have a bigger crisis down the road. Oh, no. They want a big crisis. That's so dangerous, and I can't believe people applaud this and want this. It's terrible. Stick with me to the end. By the way, if you're interested in a side hustle, I want to tell you about it. Why more and more colleges are closing down across the US. People, basically what it said is they don't have the funding, they don't have the income coming through, all these different things. But I think for a lot of people, they see that college is just not the way to go anymore. Why am I going to go and get in even more debt? I'm going to take on $40,000, some cases $100,000 of debt. And at the end of it, I get really nothing. For a lot of people, they're not getting a job. Because I think there's too many of these people that have these degrees that don't really give them any skills and particular knowledge that's useful. And so they're in a world in which I've seen in many cases, people have their CFA, they have their MBA, they got all these financial designations, and then the job that they're in is like a general processing job. I mean, think about that. That is not a good sign. Right? When you've got all of this education, you spend so much money, you spend $100,000 on your education, and you're working a job that's bringing in 30, 40, maybe if you're lucky, $50,000 a year. Not good. That's not good. So I think that people are just turning away from college right now for different reasons. And I could understand why some people would want that. Okay. There's a different elements to it, certainly. California supermarket installs metal exit gates to stop frequent shoplifters. Come on, people. This is the world we live in right now. You could see different types, like this is like a security gate. It looks like you're going through an airport or something. You could see the people shoplifting easily, no problem. Nobody will stop them. Anyway, there's some other examples here. Just going through the aisles, you're locked, you can't go through. They want to prevent people from shoplifting. They'll just jump over anyway. But there's nothing really being done about it. There's different reasons for this. We could talk about the political aspect of that. Anyway, but there's another aspect, and that is people don't have prosperity. People don't have prosperity, and so we could see that. And we look at the crime increasing. And that makes it less basically optimal for the circumstance for everybody. Like if there's more crime in your area, you're going to feel less safe. You're going to feel less... And you're not going to go out at nighttime. You're not going to go out maybe even during the day. You're not going to put your money into the economy because you're saying, you know what? I don't feel good about it. So you're going to save away. That's the problem. That's a real problem. Okay. So I want to talk to you right now really quickly about a side hustle. This is basically something that I thought about. If you want, if you can, if you're interested, watch this video. Basically what I say in the video is if you bring a business to me that was willing to do a sponsored ad, then I will give you half of the first sponsored ad that they sign up with. Okay. So if that's, let's say $1,000 and they sign on with me, I'll give you $500. We'll do that together, okay? You could do this, and I actually tell you how to look up different businesses. You could do this in any way. Maybe you know a business, maybe you are a business, or maybe you just want to look that up and actually do this as a side hustle. You could do it from your phone. You could do it from anywhere. I would gladly give you half of that and we could split that. Let me know. Watch that video, click it right here, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.